Go up.
All right. Shouldn't take too long.
See who all's waiting. Because I noticed there's a little delay between us on the screen and when the viewers actually hear it.
I just got the notification now.
There you go. That's what I'm talking about.
I think I have your notifications on, and I'm gonna get probably an email and a notification.
Well, one thing I noticed that Ben and I discovered last night when we did a live stream on our channel, you have to. There's that thing with kids. Like, is this content made for kids? You got to turn that stuff off because sometimes that's probably yes.
Is it automatically on too when you like upload something?
Well, they had this. I think they did put it on automatically, but you had to go and take it off so that way you can post whatever you want, and they don't.
That's so annoying. It's just their way of trying to. It's like indirect. By the way, you want to know another thing we can talk about? How about Facebook trying to flag things as false information when they're not?
Yeah. Hey guys, Goose Sports and Dwayne, what's up, fellas? Thanks for joining us.
But that's another thing we could talk about later on. I think we should address this football thing first.
Yes. So first off, since we now officially have some viewers tuning in, welcome everyone to the Deplorables of the Round Table. Hope you guys like the name. That's in case any liberal troll shows up tonight and just want to piss them off. It's always fun to piss them off.
I welcome you. I hope you show up because this is the entertainment value, all right? People come here to watch me argue with you, and I'm going to get critiqued on my performance. So I want to make sure that you come. I want to make sure I do a good job. All right? That's how you bring in viewership, negative or otherwise.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a very good point. But what was I going to say? So we'll get Ben. What's up, buddy? Is this I'm guessing probably your lunch break, huh?
Is this Ben and what's the one you were just talking to on the phone, or was that Jerry?
No, Irish Benjamin here. He's my co-host on the Two Irish Brothers.
So you were just talking to him on the show?
No, I was talking to Jerry.
Oh, how you doing, Ben? I'm not seeing people's comments. Oh wait, I gotta go. Oh, okay. I was over in private chat. Why did I start there?
Yeah, private. Yeah, I don't know. I've done that before.
There, backstage. I don't know.
Yeah, like I said, since I started doing StreamYard for the live streams, it's taken some getting used to. But hey, things happen. But
anyway, since we have some viewers,
yeah. So this could actually involve all of us, since we always like to start off with talking sports, not jump right into the politics and get everybody riled up. But Eric and I were talking off screen about the top 25. No, sorry. Let me get this in here. The top 25 that was released today, and the fact that they actually include teams from the Big Ten, Pac-12, and I think there were a couple Mountain West and. I don't think there were any Macs in there, but the fact that you're including teams that aren't even playing in the fall is horse crap.
Well, yeah, and the other thing I just don't understand is if so many Power 5 conferences or just conferences in general have canceled, I don't understand why you just don't move your season as well, because it just creates all sorts of chaos. Like, I'd love to know, I don't know if they already have a plan, but I would love to know how they plan on sorting things out for when like these teams finish their schedule, and then all of a sudden you have all these other teams that haven't finished yet. Like, what are you going to do? Just take the results of ACC and SEC, and then just wait until the other teams play, and then have your playoff. So then you have like players that are coming off of like 20-something bye weeks have to play football now.
Yeah, exactly. And then something else I saw today, and actually, real quick, Eric, Ben, my good friend and co-host of the Two Irish Brothers, he says in the comments here, when we play Syracuse, we got to have him on our show for an insight into the enemy.
I can give you a lot of insight on how we don't cover the middle of the field and how we have a struggling offensive line, so you don't really have to worry about deep routes because our offensive line won't hold up in time for the route to develop. Yeah, we can talk about all that stuff.
Yeah, we would love to have you on the show, Eric, when that time comes, which will be
hopefully by that point I'll have more positive things to say about the Cuse than negative. But I shoot it like I see it. So
yeah. Oh yeah, you've always been a straight shooter in the time that I've known you. Ben Angel says Notre Dame at number 10 is a joke, especially since some of the teams above them aren't even playing. Yeah, I agree with that. But even if all the teams were playing, I'd say number 10 would be fair for us. But no, definitely.
I will argue that Notre Dame will have maybe lost more games than those teams above them.
Well, Clemson hasn't lost much. Alabama hasn't lost much. So
playing because those teams above them aren't even playing, so they'll technically be undefeated. Notre Dame could have one loss or something. Clemson or
something. It's kind of hard to argue that. They are undefeated, but
yeah, they're undefeated. Notre Dame, you've lost more than a team that hasn't played yet.
But yeah, I mean, just the fact, and Goose Sports said the same thing. I mean, why are you including conferences in this poll who aren't even going to be playing?
That's and that's a really good point. But honestly, even more than that, my main question is, what are you going to do about the fact that you'll have, the ACC and the SEC should, barring any, last second, okay, we're not going to play anymore scenario. What do you do about the fact that the ACC and the SEC teams have played their schedule, but then apparently in the spring, if the other teams play, what do you do then? Like, you have two separate college football seasons?
We talked about this last night on the live stream I did on me and Ben's show, and it honestly would not make any sense for any of these other teams to play in the spring because one, all the guys that are draft eligible, they're not, damn well they're not going to be playing. Number two,
it's JV college league.
Yeah. Number two, it's no guarantee just because it's the spring that the COVID situation is going to be any better. Number three, and this probably should have been number one, to be honest with you, but that's going to add just an extra workload for the next season, in 2021. I mean, all those teams that play in the spring, they're going to get maybe like a month of an off season, and then boom, it's right back to workouts, right back to practice, school, and so on. So that is a huge ass workload for all those kids.
Unfortunately, there's just nothing fair about this situation. There's going to be someone that comes out on the crap end of the stick. I mean, the universities that are out of football, if you just decide to cancel it altogether, that's a bad situation for them. If you decide to play in the spring, it's a bad situation for them. It's a confusing situation if you decide to have ACC and SEC play now and then the other teams play in the spring, and then you got to figure out what the hell you're going to do there. And, not to mention, like I said, the universities, that's the biggest one. They're going to be out lots of money. I mean, Syracuse just did I hear an echo of myself?
No, that was me. I brought us up on another page so I could go post the link to this elsewhere.
Oh, okay. For a minute, I thought JJ popped in or something.
Nope.
Oh, okay.
That was all me, dude. I thought I had the volume turned down for that.
Like I was saying, though, like for example, the universities are going to be out big money for like Syracuse Orange, the football YouTube page posted a video with the athletic director basically talking about this, movement fund or whatever called Together Cuse, where they basically just say, look, how about you consider your season ticket payment a donation?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a diehard Cuse fan, but let me tell you, my dad paid $810 for mine, my grandfather's, and his season tickets. $810. You really think that he's in any position to be making those types of donations to the university?
No.
I'm going to answer you in Spanish. No.
But it's funny. And I'm not sure if it's the same situation at Notre Dame or not. But yeah, I know not everybody's going to get to go in for that. I think they're only looking at a select number of season ticket holders.
Have to have their seats.
Something like that. I'm not even.
I honestly think that all season ticket holders should be able to come into the stadium and social distance, but you can keep it at a certain number. I mean, obviously, some people are going to be left out. Unfortunately, people are just going to have to suck it up and be like, okay, the world's not fair. I'm not going to whine like a bitch about it, but.
Well, the thing is, in Notre Dame, they're not even going to let the average fan come up and tailgate. I don't know if I told you and JJ that on the last stream, but yeah, you can't even go up there and tailgate this year.
Fuck that! I'll tailgate at my own driveway.
Yeah, well, a couple of our
guess what? You know what that's going to cause? A lot of intoxicated driving. People are going to pre-party, whether you like it or not, and you're just going to have more intoxicated drivers. Good job. Causing death anyways. Death is inevitable.
Well, yeah, but I'd like to have you on for future streams, Eric. So
I'm not. Did I say me? Did I say me? I'm not going to intoxicated drive. I would never do that. Sean, I would never.
I hope not. I hope not.
No.
But getting back on the topic here of football, and something I wanted to add with the aspect of these conferences playing in the spring. I don't know if you saw this article as well, but I saw, and I forget who it was from, but I saw an article that was giving all the bowl game projections, and I haven't heard anything announced about all this, but some of their bowl projections for specifically the NY6, they had like the Fiesta Bowl and the Cotton Bowl. They had them moved until back to March, and they had like Ohio State playing in it and Oregon and in the Cotton Bowl, I think. I have not heard anything about any major bowl games being pushed back. So where the hell did that come from?
Yeah, and that's another thing too. Like, what kind of postseason are you going to have with just two conferences playing?
Well, technically, in the spring there'd be four. Because
I mean, I'm talking about this fall season. Kind of like back to what I was saying before about the confusion. You're going to have two of the conferences playing in the fall. I mean, what I don't know what happens. What are your thoughts on the possibilities of what they may do?
Well, here's the thing. Right now, as it stands, and I haven't heard any news about any other conferences that have been backing out. Because as it stands right now, it's now the Power 5 is now the Power 3 with the ACC, SEC, and Big 12. The Group of 3 is now.
Didn't cancel?
Did they cancel?
I thought they did. Could I be wrong on that? I don't know. Fact check me on that. I thought they canceled. Because that would perhaps change some things.
No, the Big 12 didn't cancel.
All right. I thought they did. I don't know where I read that or where I must have misread something, but I thought they had canceled.
No, they were talking about it, but no, the big. You see, you had me scared there for a second because I thought there was some news that I missed, but no.
No, I thought no, I must have misread something.
Well, I mean, there's an article here that I'm seeing. Big 12 exploring conference college football playoff expansion, and then there's a Big 12 college football preview that was posted 17 hours ago.
See, I don't understand why some of these conferences even canceled. It just makes no sense. You can have no fans. You can have players wear face shields over their helmets. You can, I mean, they're playing basketball right now and sweating all over each other and running into each other. Coaches hugging and kissing each other. They're not wearing masks. They don't have to quarantine coming back from other states. I mean,
where did you come up with that? Coaches hugging and kissing each other.
It's just a obviously hyperbole for like, you know, the pregame and postgame. You know what I'm talking about. The pregame and postgame.
Unless you're talking about some basketball league in San Francisco or something.
No, Sean, that was hyperbole. That was hyperbole.
I I know it was, but I took it there.
No, I know you took it there. That's fair because I'm the same kind of guy. I do the same thing. So you know what? That's fair, man. I get it.
That was just, I get it. That was just like the movie Ghostbusters when Bill Murray's like, up becomes down. We're dogs and cats living together.
Yep.
Have you seen Ghostbusters?
That's one of my favorite movies right there. We better not even get down movies because we can talk about that one.
Okay,
you know, even though I will say this, you want to know what I just watched, and I didn't even have to be a baseball fan to think that this was an amazing movie. But Field of Dreams.
Oh, it's a classic, dude.
Dude, that is. I watched that I sat down and watched that with my dad because the other day, and that was outstanding.
You've never seen that before.
Never had seen it before in my life. It was outstanding.
Yes, I came out when I was 3 years old.
We have her comment here. Megan Mullen.
Yeah. Dwayne Roll Tide Roll says Megan Mullen will be hugging and kissing players this season.
Who's Megan Mullen?
Is that the Texas Tech women's basketball coach?
She hot?
No. She looked kind of butch.
I'm not interested.
I think if you're drunk enough, you'd hit that.
No.
I remember there was one a few years ago. I was with my brothers at my oldest brother's place, and some friends of ours were over, and they got this messed up conversation about how drunk would you have to be to hit on Brittany Griner.
Beer goggles are not a good thing. That's exact. Beer goggles are how you wake up next to a girl who looks like me.
Oh. And did this live stream just become a freaking George Michael video or what? Ugh. But anyway, I wanted to get back to you. Asked me a question.
All right,
my opinion about how things will work. So, as it stands right now, got the three. Oh, hold on. Dan Mullen, wife for Florida. She kisses all players as they get off the bus. It has been a running joke. Okay, I know. All right, Dwayne, I know what you're talking about. I couldn't put my finger on the name.
Is it similar to Syracuse basketball when the Bernie Fine? I don't know if it was. Did I think Bernie Fine let all the players sleep with his wife or something? I don't know if it. I don't know if I'm even accurate about that, but I think that was what happened at Syracuse. Is that the same thing maybe happening in Florida?
Well, see what Dwayne is talking about here. I'd heard this get talked about before. I just forgot the wife's name and all that. But I remember that kissing all the Florida players as they got off the bus and whatnot. All right, that rings a bell now.
probably innocent, but it's still funny.
Yeah. No, actually, I think that coach is Dan Mullen's wife. I think she just has the hots for younger studs.
I mean, and if Dan Mullen is using that as a way to cheat, he's not doing a good job considering he hasn't won a division in the time coaching. He needs to cheat better.
That was good. All right, now to try to get back to answering to give you my answer. So let's break this down. The Power 5 is now the Power 3 with the ACC, SEC, and Big 12. The Big 12 essentially saving the freaking season as we know it. So I give them all the props in the world for that somebody actually took some freaking leadership on this. The Group of 5 is now the Group of 3 because the American Athletic is still there. They're playing. The Sun Belt, they're playing. Conference USA, they're still playing with the minus Old Dominion. But big freaking whoop. What was Old Dominion going to do? So who gives a shit about that? So
hey, Old Dominion did beat Virginia Tech a few years ago.
That is true. You got to give them that. That's true. So honestly, what I would like to see happen and what I think is going to happen, obviously two different things here. What I think is going to happen is they're just going to keep like you're talking as far as like a postseason, right? And the NY6 and the bowl games. I think the playoff. What I think is going to happen is they'll just go as it always has been. Final Four, use the major bowl games, and so on. And the thing is, with this year in particular, is Big 10 versus Pac-12, and then the Sugar Bowl is Big 12 versus SEC. Well, neither one of those really get affected for two reasons. Mainly because both those games are the semifinal games this year. So those conference slots don't apply. So, yeah, I really think they're just the six conferences that are playing. They're just going to go with how they usually have been doing it. Just have the Final Four, and then the remaining four major bowl games. Play them accordingly.
So you think they're going to have their own separate season parallel to what the Big 12 and the Big 10 and the Pac-12 are doing?
I'm only going with what is playing now in the fall. As far as
what I would love to see to save the like power conference concept. I think you could take, and I know this would be maybe a long shot because you have one conference that you could argue matches Power 5 level, and the other does not. But you could make two of those teams power conferences, and you could pick one to stay a lower one for the purposes of this season here, because you could argue, in fact, I could make a really good argument that the AAC has been a lot better than the ACC the last couple of years. The ACC has been a garbage fest, just putting it nicely.
There's been some better teams in the American right now than the ACC. Yes, that's true.
Memphis, UCF. Who else is in there? Really good.
Memphis, UCF, Houston, Navy's
Houston
in it.
Wasn't good last year, but they've been pretty good for the most part. They have the West Virginia coach there now, Holgerson. He could do some good at Houston, I think.
SMU's in that conference. South Florida's in the conference.
South Florida, yeah, they're all right too. They've killed their fair share of giants.
They killed us in 2011, and it's not official yet, but South Florida very well could be our non-conference opponent.
Yeah, South Florida. Let me tell you, as a Syracuse fan, South Florida is not a team you laugh and joke at because we have had so many struggles against them in the past few years. I can only remember 2 wins against them, and one of them was about as tight as it gets. And the other times I remember us just getting flat out ran over. They are very physical, especially at the point of attack on the line of scrimmage, and they tend to have a very good run game and a pass game that may not be great, but coupled with the run game can be propped up at least with the play action. That's a team that's not a joke, and you could take seriously.
Yeah. All I know is I'm confident that if we do it, see, I'm only saying this because it's not official yet. They just have said that they've been in talks, which basically what all they need to do right now for us and them to play is just cross the T's and dot the I's. But all I can say is if that they do become our official non-conference opponent, payback is a bitch. And this time around, we have a much better team that doesn't make many mistakes like we did in 2011. So we should have no problem taking care of business if we do play them.
Yeah, it'll be personal for you, but the players on the team.
I was there.
Yeah, you were there.
I was there in 2011. I was there when they had the freaking the two freaking lightning delays, and to see us make the stupid ass mistakes, Jonas Gray fumbling and their defender running it back 96 yards for a freaking touchdown.
Hey, I bet I can top you in terms of the South Florida pain story.
Let's hear it.
How about you take a 17-0 lead in the first quarter, and then you get outscored 45-3 for the rest of the game to lose 45-20. 17-0 in the first quarter. You're like, hey, we look pretty good. And then, the rest of the game, they really don't even play that great on offense. You make a few special teams blunders and turnovers, and then they make a couple of good drives offensively, and all of a sudden they put 40 on you. Not to mention you have over 500 yards of offense, but only score twice.
That would be comparable to losing your boner during sex.
Oh, now who's taking it there, Sean?
I took it there once already.
I'm a bad influence, man. I'm dragging this live stream down.
No, you're not. Hey, I'm the one that's the influence here. I mean, I got 14 years on you, kiddo.
That's actually, I don't know what that. I think that's comparable to getting I'm trying to think what that's even comparable to. I think it's worse. If I can think of anything, I'll let you know. But that's pretty bad. Let's see. I got a couple of chats here. Wayne says you said boner.
Beavis and Butthead reference. You said boner.
Do you remember when Beavis and Butthead had to not laugh, and then they put them in sex education class?
Yeah. We're in sex ed class, boys.
We're going to be talking about the penis.
Yes. We're going to be talking about the vagina. Do you find it funny, Butthead, that we'll be talking about venereal disease? And we'll be spending a lot of time talking about masturbation.
Man, this generation will never know because it's not on Netflix or anything like it used to be.
Well, you're smart enough to at least look it up.
No, they're not. They're too busy making TikToks half naked.
No, I said you are. You're smart enough to
I was able to watch it when it was on Netflix. It was on Netflix at one point.
Yeah, I didn't have Netflix then.
Not anymore. They've taken it off.
Man, I was I was like 7, 8 years old when it was debuting on MTV. And I remember I was at that age, it was so funny. My brother and I, this is so funny. These are the memories that you talk about. And you look back now and it was so silly. But in my home, Beavis and Butthead was one of those shows that we were not allowed to watch. You were forbidden to watch that show. I'm like, why? And what are they doing that's so
Sean, you can't watch that.
Yeah. So but that didn't stop us from sneaking it. It was just like when my brother and I discovered what was on Cinemax and Showtime after 10 p.m.
Why do you think some of the naughtiest girls you meet went to Catholic school and all that stuff? They've been repressed all this time. They're coming out.
They're backed up.
They're rebelling. They're rebelling. Tell you what, rebellious Catholic girls, man. Watch out. They've got lots of pent-up aggression to take out.
Oh, I'll tell you, I was 8 years old when I when I first saw what was on Cinemax after 10 p.m. You know, the softcore porn and all that.
Oh.
You didn't know about that, did you?
How did we get to football to get in here? Man, well, like I said before the stream, I was like, Sean's like, what are we going to talk about? And I'm like, I don't know, man. We never go in any linear direction. There's no point in even creating a plan anymore because we're going to end up talking about this and that. We could. There's so many things we could talk about and will talk about. Like, we are not good at staying on task.
Yeah, we go from talking college football to softcore pornography. How the hell does that happen? But anyway, all right. Getting back to what I was saying with you know, the conferences and all that. As far as I'm concerned, this might sound harsh on my part, but Big Ten, Pac-12, to hell with them.
I agree with you, and that's literally what I was thinking about when you were talking about it earlier.
Yeah, if you want to qualify for the playoffs, play for a national championship, play in a major bowl game, you play now. And I'm sorry, but if anything is going to have an asterisk on it, then it should be if they have a freaking spring season. I'm sorry.
And that's the thing, too, because you know what? We need to look at this in a way that, you know, this is going to be unfair for somebody. And, you know, whether you want to say, oh, it's because I want to protect human life, yeah, that's great. That's great. But unfortunately, it's still going to be unfair for somebody. So you know what? The teams that are playing in the fall, they should have, if you want to have a season, your own season, go ahead. But what we're doing, I think the spring season and the fall season should be their own thing, be their own separate entity. That's my personal opinion. But we have to try to make it. We're a society that just tries to please everybody. That's what we've become. So I can just see that we're going to kowtow and kiss somebody's ass, but then there's going to be someone else who's, you know, road dog.
Well, hey, you know, the Big Ten, Pac-12, the Mountain West, and the MAC, they can play their spring season if they want to. Fine, more power to you. But as far as I'm concerned, the national champion is going to be of the one who wins in the fall.
Still crowning NC, Dwayne. Longhorns, Cowboys. What's up?
Yeah, what's up? What's up, dude? We're really. I mean, yeah, we're a half hour in, but we got plenty of time left. Eric, how long do you want to go for tonight?
I don't know. We'll see.
We'll figure it out, right?
We'll take it. We'll figure it out.
But one thing, a couple things also. I don't know. Again, I can't remember who it was that wrote that article about the NY6 Bowls and like pushing the Cotton and the Fiesta back to March. I'm sorry. No, screw that. Screw that. The only teams that qualify for those bowl games are ones who play in the fall. But I established that already.
Play in March. It doesn't make any sense. If you're going to play those in March, when are you saying that the other teams are going to play? Like you said, in the spring is past March. I mean, how are those teams going to play that?
Yes. So what they're actually expecting?
Going to play the bowl game first, or is it going to be back asswards?
Well, here's the thing: are they really expecting the playoff and the bowl committee to actually let the spring use a couple major bowls just to play in? No, screw that. If you want to play in those games, you play now. But also what I was going to tell you also is what I would like to see happen. And hell yeah, Cubs up 2-0 over Detroit right now. But anyway, what I would like to see happen is, since there's only 6 conferences that are playing in the fall or this season, because I don't really give any credentials to a spring season. What I would like to see them try, since this is such an unusual year, I wish the playoff committee would try a little experimentation. And this is a perfect opportunity to see how a 16 playoff would work. Because if you wanted to, 6 conferences, take those 6 conference champions, make it a 16 playoff. The top seed them accordingly. Top 2 seeds get a bye, and 3 through 6 play it out, just like what each conference in the NFL does. Granted, the NFL is doing the playoffs differently this year.
What you're talking about, just so I'm on the same page with you, there are 6 conferences playing in the fall, and then those 6 conference championships, and that's actually, and that's a really good concept and idea there, and that's kind of there's another YouTuber that I talk to every now and then. His name is McD Sports, and we've talked about playoff ideas before on his live streams. I've been in there commenting, and a 16 playoff where you have the conference champions of the Power 5, and you have one group of 5 team that's like the best record conference champion of the group of 5, or I don't know how. I think there should be some kind of system where you use your judgment and
like
you figure what team, what the team, like a group of 5 conference champion, but like, if you go by record, you might just get a paper tiger come in there. You don't want that. But some kind of judgment system where you can look at the teams that you're comparing side by side and say, all right, this team should go in. It's not going to be perfect, but, nothing really is. Got a comment here. Craig also said something.
Yeah, welcome in, Craig.
I agree with you, Craig. They definitely pussied out. It doesn't make any sense. You can keep players safe and play football.
Yeah, and also Desmond Howard can go screw himself as far as I'm concerned. He's always been, he's a Heisman Trophy winner, but he's always been a little bitch as an analyst. So to hell with him.
Was he? What did he play? Was he a quarterback or a running back?
I thought he was a defensive back.
He was. Did he ever get hit? Probably not. Probably never even had to get hit.
I know he played for Michigan. I mean, he was a wide receiver.
Oh, no wonder he's a little bitch. They're all divas, those wide receivers.
But he was also good at returns too. Punt and kickoff returns. Who am I thinking of that was a defensive back?
Yeah, you're right, Craig. Definitely backfired. So cocky too. There are teams within the Big Ten, for example, Nebraska, which they were saying we may consider joining a different conference because this is bullshit. Jim Harbaugh, too. I commend him. It does seem, and you know what? It seems like Jim Harbaugh, kind of leans over to our side of the spectrum.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely he does. I mean, he wants
I bet you he hates the governor there in Michigan.
Oh, I'm sure he does, too.
Michigan governor is an absolute piece of shit.
Yeah, Megan, what's her name?
DeSantis. No, DeSantis is Florida. What am I talking about? I don't remember what the Michigan governor's name. Her and Cuomo have to be the worst.
I don't know.
Andrew Cuomo wrote a fucking book about himself and how he handled the COVID situation. He wrote a book about himself. I'm not kidding. I wish I was kidding. I thought maybe it was fake news, but no. I looked at. He wrote a book about himself.
Could that guy be any more narcissistic?
No, he has a history of being a narcissistic prick. No wonder his wife left him.
Just go back to your house, Andrew, and continue doing your freaking P90X.
he felt like, honestly, if Andrew Cuomo fell down a really long flight of stairs and I had every tool there to help him, like, I just would. I wouldn't help him. Sorry.
No, I mean, there's something in people like him, and
It goes beyond politics with this
it's like,
guy. He's
well,
just a piece of garbage. Like, I genuinely hate him.
well, my thing is, how do these people get elected, and how are the people that vote for them that stupid? Now, I guess
Because it's New York City. It's New York City. They don't. They know nothing.
Yeah, they're just there to be actors.
You know what I'm hoping? I'm hoping that that Cuomo on his power trip is pissed off everyone that's voted for him. I really hope he has. I hope the bartenders, the bars, are. I don't know if you've heard about all the other ridiculous things he's done with these bars and stuff, but he's putting his own personal feelings and politics into his extended powers that he has. And let me tell you, these bars owners and these business owners in New York City, they need to come together and say, this is bullshit, and we need to do something about it. Because you know what? I don't care those business owners lean left, right, or otherwise. They don't deserve to have their business taken away by this piece of shit. This goes beyond two parties, any political placing. It doesn't matter what side of the spectrum you're on. If you can't recognize that Cuomo's a piece of shit, you just look at it as the amount of COVID cases we have in New York, and you base Cuomo's job as a governor on that, you are extremely short-sighted.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not from New York. I don't, I don't face those issues every day like you do, but I know enough about both the Cuomos that I wouldn't trust either of them with, as far as I can.
Texas Cowboys Longhorns. You're right. You're right. And you know what? I'll give him that. Did we do a good job with certain restrictions and stuff and trying to lessen the spread? Yes. Even though it's hard for me to really congratulate anybody because I don't believe in this shit to begin with. But yeah, the numbers did go down. But the things he's continuing to do are absolutely terrible. You can't have music and dance at wedding receptions or whatever. You can't play cornhole. He's basically having a war on fun, complete war on fun. And he's over policing, particularly bars, because of and if you know anything about Cuomo, how he feels about bars, it's very telling that he's putting his own feelings in this, but then unwittingly calls out other people like the president for politicizing this situation. He's a complete hypocrite. He's a narcissist, and he's a piece of shit. That's what I personally hate him. Personally. Like, this goes beyond politics. I hate that guy. Truly hate him. Terrible person.
Yeah, I can tell you one thing. Our governor here in Illinois, J.B. Pritzker, he's not that much better. I can tell you that much. Very
Dwayne,
similar.
I'm sure you're right. Dwayne, it's a shame. I'm sorry, Sean. I'm probably cutting you off. I have a lot of.
Well, that was it.
I get a lot of strong feelings. I'm a passionate guy, so.
No, you're fine. You're fine. I said all that I had to say.
No, but Dwayne, you're right. That's a shame for these players. I don't know how all of them feel like on this. I'm sure there's probably a lot of them that probably think this is all a good thing. But I think Trevor Lawrence speaks for a majority of players in college football.
Craig Sebring says, hey, got information our healthcare person, Rachel Levine, tried to get a car show stopped, but that backfired. So the car show is going on out near Carlisle, Pennsylvania, because a federal judge said she can't do it. Okay.
I love it when it backfires in their face.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it? I mean, look, I know this thing can spread. I get that, but you gotta let the people have some fun,
Good luck with that, especially if you live in New York. Fun is outlawed. But you know what? there's a way around that. Just organize your own wedding reception. You can find a place to do it. Like, for example, in my case, say I were to get married, my dad owns a piece of property that he inherited when my uncle passed away, and there's this really nice picnic grounds in the back and lots of space where you can play horseshoes, cornhole. We have a bar back there, a big garage, and all these other little booths and there's this whole separate congregating area we have, and it's beautiful, beautiful. You could have any kind of party back there. People who have things like that can take advantage of that and to give a big up yours to Cuomo.
Oh yeah, if you can stick it to a politician, more power to you.
Sure. I'm a troll because when I get I don't request to see Cuomo's tweets, but when I do, I always like to be a troll and comment. Even though I didn't even have this big party, I said we just had this really big party where we all had as many drinks as we could and thought about just every way possible that we could break every single one of your rules. Then there was another one of just enjoyed my trip to Virginia. Now I'm headed to the store. Never get any response or anything. I thought he'd send me a summons in the mail or something, but if he does, I'll send him his payment in pennies, $2,000 in pennies.
I doubt he even reads his own. He just probably tweets, doesn't even read the responses.
I don't know. I'd love it if he did. I've definitely had some very choice words for him in the comment section. I've probably been the meanest person there.
Now, not trying to get away from Andrew Cuomo because this is entertaining as hell right now, but I forget what district it is, but AOC's district. And I wanted to ask you this, being from New York and all that. AOC's opponent, that what is he? A former police officer, former cop, or former fireman? I forget, but what are his chances of actually beating her? Do you think?
I don't think I'm very informed on what you're talking about.
Oh, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
I don't think I'm very informed on that
one. Okay, well, I'm guessing it's not your district. I don't think, because isn't her district like out of Brooklyn or something?
Yeah, New York City. I try not to pay attention to that down there because it's all very aggravating to hear anything from them.
Okay, I was just curious if you knew anything about it.
No, I feel you. I'm not very informed on that. So, Cowboys Longhorns sucks for the student athletes that lose their season because of incompetence at the top. I agree with you, man. It really stinks. These players want to play. There are some that might be pretty far left and agree with all this, but there's a lot of them that I think majority would like to play and probably are just being silent about it.
And Craig says, our Governor Wolf said he did not want fall sports to happen, and the PIAA said, screw you, we are having fall sports. So the state of Pennsylvania. Yeah, I remember hearing about Governor Wolf, and that guy's a piece of work too, as far as I can understand.
Yeah, I actually took a trip to Pennsylvania this summer, and I remember a few people in Pennsylvania weren't a big fan. But I don't know. I mean, yeah. if he didn't want fall sports to play, and they said screw you, well, good.
Yeah, what's he gonna do? Send in the army?
Him and Cuomo up there. I got my executive order here.
Yeah, it'd be like suck a fat one, Cuomo.
Yep, sit on it and rotate.
Yeah, Craig Sebring says AOC is a loser. Her Green New Deal is the dumbest thing that I have ever heard. I agree, Craig, and the main reason is I saw on one of those campus reform videos that you can find on YouTube and whatnot, where they go. The guy who's the host, he goes to all these liberal college students and reads them the plans of this deal, and he gets them he gets them to think that it's Trump's plan. But then they're so shocked to find out that it's AOC's plan, and they're like, "Oh wow!" And I think part of her plan is wanting to be off of gasoline in like 10 years or so, something like that, something ridiculous.
They want to completely get rid of gas-powered cars.
I'm pretty sure that's a part of her.
Good luck. Good luck. All power to you. I wish you all the luck in the world at getting that to happen. I'm going to look into my little crystal ball in the future. It's not going to happen, so have fun with it.
Yeah, I mean, I know that everybody can have a bad picture. I know I have for sure, but there is just something about Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez that just freaks me out.
What?
You know, even like I know there's always those pictures where she gets caught like going like this, like or whatever. But even when she's just normal, she still freaks me out. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just knowing how she thinks. I don't know.
Yeah. You know what? You know what's also entertaining, and I recently did some information digging, and this is going to take this conversation into a different place. But I recently did some information digging when I was arguing with one of these BLM supporters again, which I know, bad, Eric. I can't, I don't know why I continue to do it, but wanted to talk about how racist Trump was, and he sent me this little thing of Trump being racist all the way back to the 1970s, and it just had clippings, like snippets of interviews, and it wasn't even videos for the most part. It completely lacked any kind of context. So you know what I sent him? I sent him the 1994 crime bill. You know who had a big part in that 1994 crime bill, which you could argue was pretty racist, was Joe Biden. Not to mention what's already out there about how he wouldn't want his kids to be in a racial jungle. They want to talk about how racist Trump is.
Uh-oh. Eric, you woke up a troll. There's Daryl Wilson.
Daryl Wilson. All right. Now I'd like to see what he has to say. Well, if he wants to have a debate here, we can. If this is all on our trash can president, Trump already blaming Biden for things that happened during his administration. Yeah, Donald Trump reverses the crime bill. Well, how about all the things that we're blaming Trump for that have absolutely nothing to do with him? And Biden has been in politics for 51 years and has done nothing good. Yes, You're right, Craig. But you know what? They don't want you to know about that. They just want you to think he's racist. So they're not going to tell you about all the things that he's done for the black community. And he's doing things for a community that has done nothing but absolutely shit on him his entire presidency. So, I think Donald Trump has done just about everything he reasonably can to still call himself a man afterwards to help the black community. But I don't know where he's getting at with Trump blaming Biden.
Well, I think if he's blaming Biden for anything, it's for doing really essentially nothing. Like you said, he's been in politics for 51 years. He's had all this time to fix a lot of problems, and they haven't done it.
Well, if you really want to look at racism, you can look at Joe Biden. I'm getting the sense that you support Biden, but I don't know if you've looked at the 1994 crime bill or his comments he made back in 1979. I could be wrong, but on the year, I don't remember. I don't have the clipping in front of me, but
he made a comment about saying white kids compared to poor kids.
Yeah,
I forget the exact quote myself, but that's what he said. So he's basically referring.
Daryl, you're right about that. We are definitely in straight up chaos now. I can't disagree with you.
Yeah.
But where is that at the fault of the president? And let me just make this other point here. and this leads into what I was going to say we were going to talk about before the stream, which was
Yeah.
Facebook marking things as false information. Chuck Schumer made a tweet on February 5th, about a week after Trump made a ban on traveling and trading with China, or whatever he did with China there. And he said that it was completely premature to make this decision, and that we shouldn't, and then they basically tried to say he was racist or whatever for trying to discontinue communications or whatever with China. You get what I'm saying. But then he deletes that tweet, and there are screenshots that people with the check mark next to their name have posted that Schumer said this wasn't a fake screenshot. He tweeted it, criticizing Trump for what he did with China. But then, in the same sentence, saying Trump did nothing quick enough, when Trump acted before a lot of people.
Yeah. Well, also, and hey, and I'm not changing the subject here, but this person who calls themselves fair-minded, I have a question for you, Eric. If you want to give out this information, that's your choice. But they're like, what high school did you go to? I'm also from Syracuse, they say.
What high school did I go to? You know what? I will answer that. I went to Canastota High School. I'm gonna say this and hope that nobody shows up at my house that I piss off today with any type of weapons. I guess if it's my time to go, it's my time to go. But
don't give out your address.
I'm not saying I'm giving out my address, but you can figure out where I live, kind of, generally, by me telling you what high school I went to, because I haven't left my hometown yet. But I went to Canastota High School, and which is, somewhere between Oneida and Chittenango. I'm about 30 minutes from Syracuse.
There's also an Oneida, Illinois.
Yeah. There's a Syracuse in Kansas, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep.
And there's I grew up in a town called here in Illinois called Geneseo. I also know there's a Geneseo, New York.
Yeah, you're right.
Sunny, SUNY, Geneseo.
Is there any other comments? Nope, I haven't missed it. I'm sorry about my finger coming on the camera here. My phone is sideways, so my camera's right there. So
I think everybody understands that.
Yeah, whenever I check the comments, you're gonna see that.
But catching up on a couple here, Craig says I have a lot of black friends and they love Donald Trump and have even said Obama did nothing for the black community, and Joe Biden is going to get his ass handed to him in November, which I think will happen.
And yeah, I'm sorry.
I was going to say a friend of mine that I just did an interview with. I've broken the video into clips, but I did another interview with a friend of mine. His name's Theodore Schubat. We actually talk about this topic, but I won't spoil anything. But I'll have a video on that coming out soon in the near future.
I haven't gotten a chance to watch those yet, but I've seen you put them up. I've had intentions of watching them, but they're pretty long interviews, so I have to find time to watch them. But
this is a new one. So far, the two that I have uploaded, they're only 7 minutes long. Because this time around I just broke it down into parts, so that way I could have and this is actually Ted's idea. He's like, you should break it down into parts, and that way you can have a different topic for each thing that we talk about. And I'm like, that's a good idea. So I did that. And so far we had a video. We had one about what were they? The difference in opinions of the generations in voting, and then what was the first one? Oh, technology and warfare. Those are the only two that I've posted so far. But anyway, then Cowboys Longhorns. Next comment he had was, my neighbors had their Trump sign vandalized and thrown in a recycling bin. The left.
That's something I'm hearing a lot of people complain about.
What a shock! A bunch of liberals actually vandalizing stuff. No, I'm
Hold on a minute.
shocked.
I have to answer a text. I'm still listening, but I'm going to
It's
be
all
kind
good. Yeah, and Craig says, did you ever notice that when Schumer and Pelosi, did you ever notice that Schumer and Pelosi look like the older version of Dumb and Dumber? No, but I can picture it now, and it's funny as hell.
Oh yeah, I did see that comment. I just didn't get a chance to address it.
But yeah, Daryl Wilson, if you're still watching, here is the link to the stream. If you want to come in and actually challenge Eric face to face.
Yeah, and honestly, I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm the smartest guy in the world. All right, you could have some information that maybe I didn't know about, and you know what? I'm not going to sit here and say you can't change my mind. But you know what? Maybe you'll have some information that I'm like, you know what? You have a good point there. I can find some middle ground with you. You know.
Myself, I'm not an expert on politics either. I go off of common sense and right and wrong.
Can you, Sean? I don't know if you can access your Facebook right now, but can
Yes,
you
I
send
can.
me a link? Can you send me a link to the stream in Messenger so I can send as my girlfriend wants to watch?
Sure. Just 1 second here. Yeah, it's simple. All I have to do is just bring up another page here. Oh shit. I almost sent you the link to bring her on the show.
I don't think you would. I don't think she's not a political person. She'd be sitting there like a deer in headlights while we talk about this stuff.
Well, not everybody wants to be seen on camera, which I can respect that.
She's kind of a shy person in general. So.
Well, I can tell you one thing. It takes a lot of balls to get on camera.
Maybe if I tell her your name, she'll be able to find you.
Yeah, I mean it shows up no problem. Here, I got the link coming right now, so
I will see if maybe she can find it. But anyway, I wanted to get back to that point I was making. Here's a comment. Eric, that cheeseburger never stood a chance. No, it did not. I tell you what, I actually have not had a ton to eat today. I had a few Angry Orchards earlier. What else did I have? I had a chicken sandwich and a couple of granola bars this morning, and a coffee. That's it. That's really not that much when you add up all the calories. So I'm actually pretty hungry right now.
Well, Daryl Wilson, get your ass on here. I'll let you on the stream, and you can talk about it face to face.
All right, Daryl, I'm going to respond.
These people don't want to do it.
I'm going to respond to you, Frank. You're those first. All right, Trump is a straight up pig. All right, I can agree with you that he can be very abrasive at times, and his mouth can get him in trouble. There are times where he needs to remember his place, and I'm with you. I'm not going to say that I agree with every single thing Donald Trump says or the way he says it, but he's kind of the person we need right now. All he does is insult people who don't agree with him. Well, I've seen him get kind of upset with people who spread a lot of false information, which, if people are spreading false information about you, you'd probably be upset about it. He is as good as gone come November. Yeah, that's why there's boat parades and all sorts of parades of Trump supporters who have come out and have been very passionate. All the Biden parades I see, everyone looks about as disinterested as Biden does himself. Look where we are right now as a country. Trump has hurt our economy. Actually, Corona has hurt our economy, and in a lot of the cases, our own governors have hurt our economy with the things that they've closed down. Trump has been a big proponent of getting the economy running again. So I don't understand how you can say he's hurt our economy. Look where we are right now as a country. Yeah, it's pretty bad, but you can blame the left for that.
Yeah, maybe I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, like not go out and burn down cities and pull all this politically correct bullshit, tearing down statues, killing 5-year-old kids just for coming on some guy's lawn. Did you did you see that, Eric? About that dude? I think it was in North Carolina. That grown man who shot the 5-year-old kid just because the kid
Yep,
went on his lawn.
that's what happened. And
And so many
yeah,
and
I
all these
know, and that, yeah,
and all these woke BLM types defend this guy. It's you're
I actually have had arguments about this very thing. And here's what they say: they feel bad that the kid got killed, but they're saying that he already got his justice. Last time I checked, the George Floyd guys were arrested. There was a cop that's wrongfully arrested for defending himself. And it's just the fact that y'all are so silent about it. You don't really seem to care. Like, you just half-heartedly go, "Oh yeah, I'm sorry you died." You know.
no. If this,
But
if
Black
it,
Lives
honestly,
Matter.
I'm just gonna say it. I'm just gonna say it. If this 5-year-old kid was black, oh, they'd be all over it. Especially if it was a
Yeah, even
white.
if the guy was arrested on the same day, even if the killer was arrested on the same day, we'd still be fucking pissed. We'd still be rioting and burning stuff down. Would have been bleeding hearts about that kid, not some half-hearted. Yeah, I'm sorry the kid died. Blah 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 blah. It wouldn't be so that. Be a stark difference.
No, but I shouldn't be surprised at it. I mean, these people who support this, who are supporting this guy and actually defending him, I mean, these are the same type of people who they would be groupie. They would be group. They're the same type of people who would be groupies to serial killers. I mean, Charles Manson, he had a shit ton of groupies. So these people defending this guy for just murdering this kid in cold blood, no different.
Babe, you're right. I am eating McDonald's. My mom brought me some.
Craig says, "How about Lori Lightfoot?" She says protesting is all right, but when they protested in front of her house, she had them arrested. Typical Chicago politician, typical liberal
This
politician.
the mayor of Chicago, right? Lightfoot.
Yeah, the one that looks like a
Looks
cross
like
between.
a
Well, she looks like a cross between Don King and Beetlejuice.
Her eyes are very disproportionate to her face.
Yeah, and then I guess she's. I just found out, and I'm not surprised at this, but I found out she's also a lesbian, and I saw her partner. And put it this way, I'm not sure which one is actually the guy.
We're really going below the belt, aren't we, Sean?
Nothing's off limits here. Now, if this is
No,
now if this is my if this is my if this is my other show that I do with my buddy, we keep politics out of it. But this is my own individual channel. Nothing's off limits.
I'm surprised you have a channel where it's possible to get off the politics. I'm
Well,
surprised we can control ourselves in that environment.
I know, right? But I don't know. The funny thing is, when I first started this channel, I never created it to, really talk politics. I was hoping to just keep it to sports, but I just, my people that share the same thoughts as me, they weren't sharing them enough, and I just felt it was important to speak up.
No, you're right. But anyway, I still want to get back to that one point I was making.
Yeah. About
Continuing
Facebook?
off of the Facebook thing, because I was talking about Chuck Schumer's tweet that he made and then deleted. Well, when I posted the screenshot that someone had taken of it, it told me that I was posting false information. That's not false information. That was a tweet that was deleted, and people took a screenshot of not long after he deleted it.
Wow.
And this was not false information. And the fact that you're trying to claim that's false, Mark Zuckerberg proving again he's a scary man, and he's
Yeah.
protecting all that BS. there's a ton of stuff that's being flagged as false information now, and it's all stuff calling out the left. I have not seen one thing that's calling out the president, calling out, and I'm not saying the right is right about everything, because they're not. But I'll tell you what, when you're very disproportionately calling things false information, that's a problem.
Yeah, and I'm not surprised. I mean, I'm not saying, conservatives or the right wing is perfect, which myself, I don't even consider myself a right winger. I just consider myself a conservative Christian. That's it. But just the way left wing liberals act in regards to covering things up and trying to put on this face and play, victim, play hero. It's such bullshit. It's bullshit to a different level.
Yeah, and it's funny because it's almost like say I went up to you, Sean, and I punched you in the face and I broke your jaw right off, and then I gave you a lift to the hospital and gave you medical care. That's exactly how the liberals are with the black community. They put them in the bad situation, and then they're the friendly helper.
Yeah.
Now, here you go. That's the exact same concept.
Well,
I inflict the pain on you, and then I help you, and then I claim to be your friend.
Yeah. Well, it's like I talked about in the last stream that we did. This black dude out of somewhere in Minnesota. His name's Duron Slater, conservative Christian, Trump supporter, Republican, and all that. He said it the best. A lot of these inner cities are what he calls modern day plantations. Why does he call them that? Because basically they get their provisions from the government. Which usually these are all mostly in liberal cities. They don't put much into the inner city schools because they don't want them educated, and they basically have these people rely on the government to take care of them and get them to think this bullshit narrative, a false narrative of, oh, the white man hates them and this and that. So it all goes back to believing this false narrative and people not being able to think for themselves.
Oh, it's not good. Craig Sebring says.
Yeah, I was going to get to those.
And Rachel Levine was from PA. From PA was a man changed to a woman. She is ugly as a woman. Can't imagine what she was as a man. I don't know who Rachel Levine is.
The name sounds familiar.
She took her mother out of a nursing home and put her in a hotel room that our tax dollars pay for. She doesn't deny it. She laughs at it. And there you have it. People, they have one set of rules for themselves and another for everybody else.
That is,
just. You want to know something else? So really, so I can't remember what it's.
What's your girl saying? You're not my friend.
Oh, she's pissed that I had McDonald's. She did.
Oh, okay. Going back to that. Anyway, go ahead with what you were going to say.
I'll be honest, I actually can't remember.
I'm sorry about that, dude.
No problem. I honestly was trying to remember what it was called, but it was some kind of deal or movement or a law or whatever that basically allowed for unlimited campaign money. And a lot of times they can get donations from other countries, and they don't even have to report where the money comes from. Something like that. I don't have a lot of facts on it, honestly, but I was going to bring it up. I didn't know if maybe you knew something about it.
And this is a law?
Forget what it's called. Something.
Yeah,
I didn't know if maybe you already knew something about it. That's why I threw it out there.
Well, all I know is I don't know the particular thing that you're talking about here, but I do know there's loopholes that where a campaign can get money from. like for example, I was talking about this with my buddy Ted on the first interview that we did together last year, and who did he say was that? Not, I can't remember if it was NATO or United Nations or just whatnot, but I forget which organization. I'm not going to go look it up now, but obviously NATO and United Nations, they don't directly fund candidates, but here's where the loophole is. They can set candidates up with people who will give them money.
Yeah, and I actually just remembered what the name of the law was when you said United Nations. I believe it's called Citizens United.
Okay, that somewhat rings a bell now. And yes, and by the way, yes.
Go ahead.
And I was just going to address Dwayne here. Yeah, Dwayne, that is the video that I was talking about, and you'll probably hear me reference it many times in the future. But it was that good. But yeah, the guy's name is Duron Slater. He's the head of a organization called Blexit in Minnesota, and yeah, the guy's black, and he calls out all the bullshit of things like Black Lives Matter, the liberal left, and so on. A great dude, very educated, very well spoken too. Anyway, go ahead, Eric.
If Black Lives Matter was such, a good thing for black people, then why would so many black people not like it?
Yeah, good point.
It's very simple, like common sense, like something where a novice could look at it and be like, well, why don't they like it? There must be some kind of reason why black people wouldn't like a movement that supposedly is about black people.
Sorry, Cubs just hit a home run. But I'm listening.
Lily, what'd you say? I'm all done.
No, I just said sorry. I hope you didn't think I was interrupting you. The Cubs just stole a home run.
I'm worried I've been interrupting you because we get on these topics and I have a lot to say about it.
No, that you made an excellent point. Yeah, if this organization is so great, then yeah, why do so many black people hate it? Because that's another false narrative of the media, is they make you think that every single black person is on board with the Black Lives Matter organization and the movement. They're not. Okay, there are a lot of black people that are against this. And Lily, she says, okay, I have a question. Did you guys ever get so frustrated you became really dizzy and overwhelmed?
What do you mean? Like, are you being frustrated about politics? Like we just get pissed off about our sports and our politics and our heads just explode? I probably have. I'd have to say I probably have.
I can't say that I've ever been dizzy. Frustrated and overwhelmed? Yeah. Very much. I mean, if you're talking particularly politics, Lily, yes, there have been plenty of times where I've been very, very angry. And that's okay, Craig. I knew we were not going to win that series, so bust away, man. The Golden Knights kicked our ass.
Are you going to watch NFL football this year with all this diva Black Lives Matter BS now? I won't watch the NBA, not that I watch it anyway, but when I see Black Lives Matter printed all over the court, I will not watch that. I will not fund it.
See,
I'm putting it on my television.
This is where I'm the opposite, Eric. I'm not usually one who boycotts things. And I know I feel like a piece of shit saying it, but I think it's a lose-lose either way, because yeah, I love the Chicago Bears. Huge Bears fan. And it's just football for me has always been special, even more so than baseball, because, well, football, College, you only get 12 games a year. NFL, you only get 16, so it's not much. Baseball, you get 162 games. Hockey and basketball, you get 82, so a lot of it. Football, not so much. So, yeah, I'll probably watch the Bears. But here's the thing. You might be like this, and a lot of people will probably ask me the same question as well. Well, Sean, if you speak so much against Black Lives Matter, how come you're not boycotting? Well, the way I look at it is this: I am supporting the team, not the personal politics of the players or the people in the front office. I mean, what's your thought on that, Eric? Am I a piece of shit for?
No, I think you make a very good point. I see where you come from. I'm still going to watch the Bills because I haven't heard a ton about the Bills getting awfully political. But I'm probably only going to watch the Bills. I know we did not repurchase the NFL package. We completely discontinued that. I don't want to support the NFL. I think the NFL has become an absolute joke and a shame.
Lily asks, what about kneeling at the flag? My thoughts on it? Of course, it's absolutely disrespectful. Very disrespectful. They say, the BLM says it's not about the flag or the country. To hell, it's not. I mean, the NHL proved that when they had the dude from the Minnesota Wild.
You know what? Yeah, and honestly, like, if you really think that kneeling to the flag is you speaking out against this issue that you're passionate about, you're wrong. I mean, whether I agree with your issue or not, if you want to, like, for example, people who are truly peacefully protesting, do I think that do I agree with them that their racism issue is that big of an issue in this year? No, I think it's all manufactured. But you know what? I can respect, them respectfully making their point for what they feel is right. But when you're kneeling at the flag, what is that?
If they really believe this stuff?
Yes, they do. But no, you're really uneducated if you think kneeling at the flag is any kind of difference maker, or that you're standing up literally against the rights that freed your type of people. I'm not, and I mean that completely in the way of just black people and people of color, that freed that race from oppression. Because guess what? There was oppression and against gays and blacks and people of all races, which, by the way, I've heard that they're going to start talking about the discrimination against gays in schools, and I think that's absolutely fantastic. We need to talk about things like this because it was very recent, as soon back as when I was in elementary school, that being gay was considered an insult and nobody wanted to come out as gay. I didn't think anyone in my school was gay because it was such a bad thing. But then people came out, and now gay people are finally getting a lot of rights that they deserved. I know you don't agree with this, Sean, because of your faith, and I understand that, and I respect that. But they've earned themselves a lot of rights, and I think it's a good thing to talk about. And yes, Sean, I understand you're not going to agree with me on this because of your faith, and I completely respect that.
I'm letting you talk, aren't I?
Yeah. No, I'm just saying I know you're not going to disagree, or I know you're not going to agree on that necessarily.
My thing is, well, you already said it. Yeah, I am completely against it. I do think it's disgusting. Do I think people should be beaten up or bullied because of it? No, I'm not. So I'm not going to go that far. But when you compare that to things like being black, and comparing the actual act to someone's skin color, I do think that's kind of insulting.
Insulting?
Yeah. Because homosexuality and being black are not the same things.
What I meant, and I don't mean it as in I mean it as in terms of you're discriminated against for whether it's a feeling or a race. And I'm not saying that they're necessarily the same thing, but it was still, they were still turned down for jobs. They were bullied and beat up, like you said, which shouldn't happen. I mean, am I gay, or would I ever want to even try to be gay? No. Does the idea of doing anything with another man repulses me? Honestly, I'm not really even a big fan of the scenes of men kissing on TV. It's uncomfortable. But I personally, where I stand is I just simply don't judge someone's character based on their sexuality. And I don't think that it's fair to not give them the equal opportunities that we get here in America just because of something they choose to do or how they feel. And I wasn't trying to make that comparison necessarily with being black.
I didn't say you were.
I didn't mean to make an insulting comparison.
No, you didn't. That was me saying what I think about it. So I wasn't saying that you said anything like that. Not at all.
Yeah, I didn't want you to think I was trying to be insulting.
No,
and I know.
No.
And honestly, I don't. Like I said, I don't mind people being gay, but honestly, it does. Like seeing it like that, it makes me uncomfortable. Personally, I'm never gonna say anything about it if I see it, because honestly, if they live in America, it's their right. I just would never want to participate in it. And honestly,
you can't stop them.
I would be, and you know what? Honestly, if I would be friends with someone, I know gay people who are truly very good people at heart. I just would never. I just don't share the same sexuality or preference with them, which
Well, it's just the thing is with me. I mean, aside from my Christian faith on the matter, just some experiences that I've had in dealing with the people in this community, in the LGTB. I've never shared this before, but I've actually gotten a death threat from a homosexual person.
Terrible. I agree with you. Yeah. And yeah.
And the thing is, it's like doing the research and all the things that happen in this community and what these people do. I'm sorry, it's not normal. Because one of the common things in this community that they do amongst one another is do stuff involving urine and feces. I'm not trying to get disgusting here. It's just a fact. But stuff they do at their little pride parades, it's absolutely abhorrent. But not just that, not just the actual sexual aspect of it, but stuff like what they're doing in regards to the Christian business owners who they go after on purpose and then sue because the person doesn't want to provide for their ceremonies and whatnot. But yet at the same time, and I know this for a fact because my friend Ted, who I mentioned earlier already, he did an experiment about 5-6 years ago when this stuff was really kicking into gear. When there was those incidents of the Kleins in I believe Portland, Oregon, who were being sued by a lesbian couple because they're like, hey, we can't provide this for your service. It goes against our religious beliefs. That these two lesbians, they go absolutely apeshit on these people. And they take them for like $150,000, put them out of business. And then there's Jack Phillips out of Colorado, who's also a baker. There's a florist in Seattle. All the same thing. Kim Davis in Louisville, Kentucky, the court clerk. And these people in this community are harassing these Christian people, and then when they don't comply, they try to destroy their lives. And I'm sorry, that I have no respect for, none. So it's kind of hard for me to have. It's kind of hard for me to have, because it's kind of hard for me to have sympathy for these people when when they're doing this kind of stuff. And of course, one of the most horrendous things is with all these cases, you go on social media, Twitter, Facebook, whatever. I mean, the Kleins, they got death threats up galore from these people and their liberal backers, telling them that we hope you die, we hope your building burns down and your kids get cancer. And so what I'm getting at is, when people think of, homosexuals, they think of the Hollywood portrayal. Oh, they talk with the lip and they're so funny and so nice and this and that. That's not the reality.
Billy
I'm
Jones,
sorry,
I'm ignoring Billy Jones. He's a troll. I'm not gonna argue with that. But
who I
anyways,
think. All right, hey Dwayne, is this Derek Raycroft? Is this one of his names? Could this be him trolling us?
just ignore him. Let's just ignore him. Anyway,
Yeah.
I'm gonna say
Anyway.
that honestly, Sean, I agree with every single point you made about that stuff being bad. I can tell you that my mom has some friends who I don't know if she works for them or not, but they're homosexual, and there are some of them that are conservative and hate the gay pride parade because they hate what it's become. Instead of what was originally supposed to be good rights for gay people because they live in America, they should have equal opportunities just like everybody else. That's fair. That's good.
Well, yeah. As far as livelihood goes, being able to just work a job, fine.
And honestly, I'm in favor of people just doing what makes them happy. In my opinion, it's not any of my business. I mean,
but here's the thing with that argument, Eric. That's such a dangerous argument when you think about that, because that can open the doors for so much more.
Unfortunately, doesn't matter what argument you make, it opens the door in one facet or another for one particular hateful group. So there's not much you can do, other than say, all right, you can get married, but you can't go to people's businesses and force them to give you service. I think that's wrong because, for example, yeah. And
I'm sorry. Go ahead. All you right now. Go ahead.
But there are gay people that hate the gay pride parade and what it stands for, because all they want to do is just live their life and have their own preference. They don't want to flaunt it in front of everybody,
Because I'm sorry, but a bunch of guys
right there is the
a
cancer.
bunch of guys in leather walking one another on leashes. That's not normal.
No, it's borderline. It's just that that would be bad if straight people went out and did that in public.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter if it's gay, lesbian, or straight. That's just disgusting behavior. And so it's the death threats and all that other stuff. And I agree with every single point you made. I think if you're going to, if you're gay, then honestly, I have no problem with you being gay. But you don't need to, be obnoxious about it. Just live your life just like every other average person would, and no one's going to give you any problem, especially not in this time.
Well, and what I was going to tell you before, going back to not ignoring your point there that you were making, but I didn't get a chance to tell you this. But my friend Ted, who I mentioned earlier, like I said, or I was starting to say before the troll showed up, I think it was about 5 or 6 years ago, he did an experiment when all this stuff with the Christian businesses were going on. They were getting sued, and there's video of this on here of him doing this. And anyone who wants to see it, I can provide it. But he called 13 different bakeries that were either ran by homosexuals or ones that were just ran by people that were pro-homosexual, right? Every single one of them, and he got all this on video. Every single one of them refused him service because he called every single one of them asking for a cake that says, quote, "Gay marriage is wrong." Every single one of those business owners turned him down, refused him service.
Exactly, and they should have a right to do that, just like Christian business owners or people who don't believe in gays should be able to deny you. And it's this very loud portion of gay people in these LGBT communities that really give regular gay people who are just trying to live their life that just happen to like men, a bad name. And whether like me and you obviously don't find homosexuality to be something we'd ever want to be a part of, but if someone wants to just live their life as an American and they happen to be gay, then they should be able to do that. But it's this loud group of people that's making them look bad. Billy Jones, see you later. Lily, no, you're not wrong in your comments.
Yeah, I think this guy coming back with the accounts is Lou himself. And by the way, his name is Derek Raycroft. He's from Augusta, Georgia.
Uncle Lou, dude, I used to have a lot of respect for you until you said what you said to me in the comments. And to be honest with you,
and I can't prove that this is him, but
no. But you know what? When he says Uncle Lou owns you or whatever,
it's either him or one of his followers, obviously.
But you know what, dude? Honestly, in your arguments that you made for the coronavirus thing were terrible. When I said the survival rate, and you just and you made your argument about 98% of people, or if 2% of people who got the virus died, there'd be like 2 million deaths, blah, blah, blah. Well, it was a terrible argument, first of all, because, you know, when it has a 98% survival rate, that means of the people that have gotten it, that's who survived. You're assuming the entire population will get it. That's an idiotic argument. And to say I'm bad at math, ridiculous. And you want to call me an idiot in the comment section, berate me when I never called you any names. I had a lot of respect for what you did in your channel, but you know, and I was a religious watcher of yours, but you're a jerk.
Well, the funny thing is, this guy, assuming this is him, I can't prove that it is him, but obviously it's somebody who, it's either him or somebody who watches him, obviously. But funny thing is, when I headed down to Georgia last year, I offered the chance to meet him face to face, and I never got an answer back.
No, he's not going to want to. He's a chicken shit. That's what he is.
But Dwayne, is that one of his though? Is that one of his fake accounts? But
no.
Yeah. Anyways,
no, you weren't wrong in any of the comments you said.
But anyway, as far what I was going to just say real quick, in regards to him, he's actually lucky, in my opinion, to either be alive or not be in jail. Because I guess there was a situation he ran into last year where he actually he started to travel down to some people where he knew lived, and he actually got some common sense for once and turned back. But who knows what would happen if he went down there? He could have done something that would have put him in jail, or you don't know if that person has a gun or not, would have blown his brains out.
Yep.
But the guy and a lot of his viewers are just, I thought this was dead and buried. The guy really needs to learn to let stuff go. I mean, the only time I ever think of him is when idiots like this guy show up. And if it is him under a fake account, then why even worry about someone like me who is small potatoes to him? He's got this huge following. He's making a living off of doing, videos and YouTube. I'm not. So the fact that you're wasting all this time on me is just pathetic. But enough of him. Back to what we were talking about. And so, yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, and that's the point that Ted was getting at is, hey, why is it that the Christian can't say no, but the homosexual business owner can say no all day long and not suffer any consequences for it? Meanwhile, the Christian business owners, they get sued, they get put out of business, they lose their livelihoods, and a big stink is made about nothing. A small, stupid little thing.
Yeah, and that loud group of gays really makes it hard for, just respectable gay people trying to live their life.
Yeah, and like I said, I mean, regardless, those people, like I said, if they just want to live their life, and just make an honest living, work a job, whatever, okay, fine. Like I said, I can't stop them anyway from living that. But at the same time, don't force your stuff on me, just like these people say, well, don't force your religion on me. Well, it's a two-way street, works both ways. And we're seeing it on TV. This is why I don't watch a lot of TV anymore, is because the homosexual agenda is being pushed all over the TV screen, now being forced on kids, now being forced on them in public schools. And I'm not talking about the anti-discrimination stuff like you were. I'm talking about in different states, like here in Illinois, they are trying to have a forced homosexual curriculum.
Yeah. And I think learning about, you know, gays getting the rights that they deserve, being able to marry. I mean, I think that's they should just be able to do that. I mean, I think this is America. You should be able to do that, whether it's something that's, in your beliefs or not. I think it's America, and America and religion should be separate in some ways. We should be able to put our feelings aside and recognize what our rights are, which, my feelings on gay is that I just, it doesn't matter to me. As long as you're not hitting on me, then that's fine with me. But, we should be able to put our feelings aside on that. And,
sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, I didn't get a chance to really finish this earlier, but, my thing is, and I know we touched on this briefly, but that's when we got interrupted. When I was talking about the floodgates being open for other things, like incest, for example. I mean, there's people out there pushing for that stuff to be legalized.
Pedophilia thing.
Pedophilia.
Disgusting.
Well, what's really disgusting is there's people out there in the political world and the blogging world. I don't know if are you familiar with the guy whose name is Milo Yiannopoulos?
No.
Okay. Well, he's pretty prominent amongst the right wing. He calls himself he's a homosexual man who considers himself right wing. He used to be one of the head writer for Breitbart.com. But this guy, for some reason, so many right wing conservatives love him. And this is a guy who has gone on shows like, and I know for a fact he said this on Dave Rubin. He said it on Steven Crowder, and I think even Joe Rogan. But Joe Rogan, I'm not sure about that one. But this is a guy who has gone on record saying that homosexuals are, quote, have superior genes and they have superior genetic makeups from their they have higher IQs from their superior genetic makeups. So basically saying everybody else is inferior. And so in addition to that, he's also said that he thinks the consenting age, specifically between men and boys, should be lowered to 15. So he's all about promoting pedophilia and pederasty. The comment that he made about IQs and all that, eugenics, right there. So
why do you think they want to promote that? Because half those politicians are out there doing it, and they want to make sure they're pardoned for it.
Yeah, I mean, this guy isn't a politician, but still, what I'm getting at is the point is this is stuff that is being pushed. This kind of sick crap, all because floodgates were open for the LGBT. And and I'm saying when arguments are used like that, that can be a very scary thing, because look at what's being pushed. You have a show on Netflix now that features 11-year-old girls twerking. I mean, whatever.
That's terrible. Terrible.
So you're feeding the pedophiles with that one. There's not one but two shows on what channel is it? I think it's TLC. Two shows that feature polygamists. You have one show. It's on one of the paid channels, HBO or Cinemax, one of the two. That promotes. I think it's pronounced polyamory, which is like polygamy, but it's basically what that is. It's an orgy getting married.
and I can't speak on I mean, honestly, when it comes to, I hear what you're saying about the argument, but ultimately, I can't control where people take that argument. I would just hope that people can draw the line of where right and wrong is.
That's
And
fair.
I think I have a rather middle of the road, middle ground, fair argument about homosexuality. I think I have a very fair middle ground argument. You know, I know that you're with your faith, you're predisposed to not like that, which is fair. I you know, and honestly, if we can't just simply be educated on the discrimination that gay people went through and them achieving their rights, if we can't just be educated on that, and you have to take it to pushing all this other stuff, then there's deeper problems than that. And
Well, it's just the thing is with the LGTB, and you might hate me for saying this. I don't know, but I guess that's where we find out, right? um, it's just the thing is the people that are living this, they're not being forced to do it, you know. Because I know people like to use the, you know, um, like that they were born that way and whatnot. What?
I was reading the comment. I just can't help but crack up at this point.
Bobby Jones, man, these games get more generic as they come. But that's
my son played it.
Yeah.
That's fine.
But like I was saying, it's like they're not forced to do it. That's what I'm getting at. You know, I mean, I know that they like to say that they're born that way, but in the end, how can you really say that? You know, you have to actually do the act and actually make it happen for it to even exist. You see what I'm saying?
I'm generally, I really don't know a whole ton about that because I'm not gay, so I can't really speak on how a gay person feels. I think it's impossible for either you or me, being not gay, to really understand what could be going on in their brain. Honestly, I think that's one I'd just rather stay away from because truthfully, I can't make the decision on whether they are choosing it or not. I genuinely can't even, you know, I can't speak on something I don't know about.
Well, just
You know?
I'm just hey,
I
if
don't hate
anybody
you. I don't hate you for it, Sean. I don't hate
no
you
no
for any of
no
your beliefs. You know.
no. I was gonna announce address the audience, not necessarily not you, but I was gonna say I'm probably gonna piss off people who are watching. That's fine, and I'm just telling everybody if anybody's pissed off at me saying this, be pissed off at me. That's fine. That's perfectly fine. Um, and Dwayne says I think there's one more brother, Sean. Okay, I'm sure there is. I'm sure there is. That Pandora's box has been opened.
Probably had a little brother sister family orgy to make plenty of those brothers. Sisters.
Yeah. Just the loser needs to get a life. But I just I don't know how I can say this without getting heat. That's what I'm trying to figure out. You know, but I
be
just
blunt. Be like, look, it's not within my religion to approve of this. To approve of this, and honestly, that's fair. That's honestly fair. I mean, I'm not going to wholeheartedly agree necessarily completely, but you know, I can find some middle ground with a lot of the points that you've made, and I think they're fair points.
Well, it's just the thing. It's just that's the thing. The people living that are not forced to live it. I mean, here's the thing. We all get feelings. We all have different feelings. Like myself, for example, there's been plenty of times where I've gotten the urge or the feeling to punch somebody in the face when they piss me off. But I don't do it, though, because I know there's consequences that come with that. The consequences of, like, I don't know, getting arrested, or maybe me making the mistake of underestimating my opponent. I end up getting my ass kicked severely bad, you know? But so yeah, we all have feelings. I get that. I just don't think they should all be acted on. And with the people that are living this lifestyle, I mean, they say that they also make the argument too, like, why would I choose this if I'm going to get discriminated on and hated on, this and that, whatever? Well, my thing is, if you don't want it, then don't. If this is something you don't want, then don't do it.
See, yeah, and that's where, you know, me and you disagree, which is fine. And I, like I said, I'm definitely middle ground with you in terms of the argument, and I understand why you feel the way you feel, and that's fair, completely fair.
I'll tell you about an argument that I had used on me once. And also, for the record, it's not like I'm going on a tirade of using, the F word this, F word that, calling them slurs. But I can't pretend to, say that I think it's right or that it's natural, because I can't say that. Not just because of religious beliefs, but because by nature it is not natural. But an argument that I got one time was actually from a friend of mine and his then wife, which they're now divorced. But they were we were in a debate about the same topic, and of course I was outnumbered. It was just the three of us. They're both liberal, both pro homosexual and all that. Me, I'm not, so I'm obviously outnumbered. One of the arguments they used on me was, and they kept going back and forth trying to be cute, but they said, Sean, don't like football. Don't like the band AC/DC. Don't, and they named a few other things that I like. And I'm like, what's your point? Why are you telling me, like, don't do this, don't do that? And they're like, Sean, what the point is, it's not just simply a flick of a switch and you can just change it. Obviously you like the stuff you like, and you can't just change and make yourself stop. I'm like, all right, I get what you're saying, but I can at least admit that I chose from the beginning to like all that stuff. I was introduced to it. So I made the choice of my own free will to like it.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, why can't these people just admit the same? They did it. They do it because they like doing it.
And that's fair. The only thing I'm going to say on that whole thing is that I don't think anyone deserves to be discriminated against based on race or sexuality. That's just,
I mean,
and I hope that you don't dislike me because of the fact that I don't necessarily agree with everything that you.
Well, you're not making any death threats towards me. You're not screaming at me. You're not.
Yeah.
No,
disagreeing is simply a part of human nature. If we agreed on everything, it would kind of be a weird utopia type world. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, some of the comments I can tell you, not necessarily on here, but like other social media platforms, comments that I've gotten have just been so horrendous. Whether it be from homosexuals themselves or people who support them. I mean, some of the shit that I've read is just downright disgusting.
No one should be getting death threats either way.
And I've noticed that this is the crazy part. I've noticed that when someone from the LGBT gives you some kind of threat or insult, it's not like someone who's like, I don't know, Muslim or Nazi, whatever. They just say, like, I'm going to kick your ass, I'm going to kill you, whatever. I've noticed that in the LGBT community, when they do that, they're very specific on what they're going to do to you. And it's very
I think about these violent thoughts quite often.
It's like it's Hannibal Lecter type stuff. Because let me tell you something, the death threat that I got one time, and it was on my Facebook Messenger. I had someone who was a homosexual say to me, I'm gonna find you, kill you, and I'm gonna run you over with my car and piss and shit on your body.
It sounds like they have some weird fetishes.
Yeah, it's usually some kind of defecation.
It seems like, but and you know what I'm going to say? It seems like no matter what people are disagreeing on these days, it seems like they always resort to these kind of threats, and it's wrong. But I'm trying to think why I had some. Did we end up finishing what we were talking about the Facebook thing?
I don't think so, but I think we covered all we had to with this current topic.
The false information
Yeah.
interesting.
And it's funny, we're down to 0 viewers, so I think I scared everybody off.
I don't know. I think Dwayne was on your side with the. He said
No, I wasn't talking about that. I said we have 0 viewers watching right now.
perhaps
I think I scared everybody off. They're like, I'm not getting involved in this. I'm not touching this one.
I try not to touch that one either. We have a person.
Oh, well, see, okay, Dwayne's, you're still here, but I don't know why it's showing up 0 in the viewer count. I don't know. But finish what you were going to say about the Facebook thing.
I actually think we did cover that. With the season being so close and with there being camp now, should we maybe do some predictions schedule where we both predict on the other person's, and like, for example, I were to predict Notre Dame and Syracuse's win-loss column record, and you could predict your own team and then mine, so we could maybe get us,
See, here's the thing. You've been watching me long enough, and you know that. That is gone. Oh, never mind. That didn't carry. Sorry. Still have the Cubs game on. I thought Baez had a home run. But you've watched me long enough. You know I'm never going to pick Notre Dame to lose.
All right. Let me change the idea. How about we just predict the other person's team, so that way there's no bias or heart getting in the way.
All right. You're my guest. You go ahead and go first.
All right. So Notre Dame, I'm gonna have to pull up their schedule.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
You know what? How about you pull up Notre Dame's schedule? You give me the opponent by opponent, and I will say why I think they will either win that game or lose that game.
All right. And just well, actually, we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
Yeah, it stinks we have 0 viewers to see this part. We're done talking about gays now. Everyone can come back. It's safe to come out now.
Yeah, no shit. That's right.
Yeah. So
actually,
I don't know. And you know what? We can do this again on the next time we have a stream, when we'll actually have viewers, and we won't talk about that particular topic that scares everybody next time.
All right. So are you content with just calling it a night then?
I think we can do it right here, and then we'll just do it again once we have more viewers too.
Oh, okay.
Plus,
all right.
The live stream's up there if they want to watch it. But I think the next live stream we should do it again, but this time at the beginning of the stream.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
But anyway, just for fun, just because I want to do it, and then we'll call it a night.
All right. Yeah. So I got a Notre Dame schedule, and you wanted to go first, right?
Sure. You said I should go first. I'll go first.
Okay. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I want to make sure I have the right schedule. Okay. So I just go opponent by opponent. You give a prediction.
Yep. Maybe a breakdown if I know anything about the opponent.
Okay. So our opener is at home against the Duke Blue Devils.
Duke Blue Devils?
Yes.
I think one's a clear win. I mean, home field advantage probably matters a little less now that there's no fans. But even if there were fans, Duke's home field attendance is actually really pitiful. So, but there's that. But Duke is not an explosive offense by any means. They really struggle to generate any big exciting plays. Notre Dame pulled out a 38-7 win last year against Duke, and I see something similar this year. Notre Dame may not have quite the firepower at receiver that they had a year ago, but I think the defense will still be strong. And Ian Book is back at quarterback, and while there were some times that he definitely didn't look great last year, should be good enough to beat Duke.
Yeah, the thing is, we're actually down a receiver right now because one of our studs, Kevin Austin. I think he's out for. I think he's going to miss like the first 4 or 5 games of the season.
Now, one game you won't have to worry about is Duke. They lost. Syracuse beat them 49-6 a year ago, and I can't imagine they've gotten miraculously better all of a sudden. So.
Yeah, no, probably not. Now, the next matchup, and this hasn't been made official yet. Neither schools have made it official, but the next game is at home against, or should be at home against the South Florida Bulls.
South Florida, I'm going to say South Florida really struggled last season. They went 4-8, and it just they don't quite have the firepower that they had when they had Marlon Mack and Quentin Flowers, and Willie Taggart was the coach there, which he may not have done well at Florida State, but he was a good coach at the Group of 5 level. That's a South Florida team that really struggled a year ago, especially on the offensive side of the ball. And simple talent discrepancy between Notre Dame and South Florida are just miles apart. That one's a no-brainer. 2-0.
All right, the next one after that is on the road against, well, I can't remember if they're playing at Bank of America Stadium or on the campus, but the next game after that is on the road against Wake Forest.
On the road against Wake Forest. Now, that's one you got to be careful with if it's on the road at Wake Forest. Wake Forest, a team that's very well coached by Dave Clawson. Surprised he's not at another bigger school by now. But Wake Forest has got very good receivers. I don't remember how many of them are returning. They had a lot of receiver injuries towards the end of the year last year. But when they had their receivers, that is a team that can really challenge you on the perimeter. And Notre Dame needs to be ready for that. And they need to be able to generate pressure on Sam Hartman, who's a very experienced QB. If Notre Dame's not careful, that could be one where if you have young players in your secondary, that you could get exploited a little bit. I think Notre Dame will win that one because Wake Forest on defense, I'm not sure how much they have. Notre Dame, do they have a pretty good offensive line again coming back this year?
Oh yeah,
if that D line, but from Wake Forest, I'm not sure they're going to have the horses to stand up against that. I think that's just they're going to have to rely on offense and hope that maybe they can generate some offense against. I don't know. Is Notre Dame have a young defense this year?
Well, we lost some key pieces, that's for sure. But we got some pretty good guys coming back. Dalen Hayes, for example.
Secondary.
Kyle Hamilton, he's a sophomore safety, had a very big impact his freshman year last year. Very, very well performed. A very nice performance for the season. We also have a transfer coming in, a couple transfers. Nate McLeod, who was I think his name's Nate McLeod. He was a corner for NC State. So a transfer coming in. We also have Isaiah Pryor taking over one of the safeties, the other safety spot alongside Kyle Hamilton. He's from Ohio State.
Do they have playing experience?
I think McLeod did, and I think Isaiah Pryor does too, but it wasn't as much as you think.
Well, that could be a factor. That could be a factor. Maybe those players weren't as good as maybe they're marked up to be. I'm not sure either of those players, a reserve from Ohio State or a transfer from NC State who was pretty deplorable last year themselves. I'm not sure if there's really a. I'm not sure if that's really the talent caliber that Notre Dame's looking for. So that could be an area where you see a couple of players get picked on. Who does Notre Dame play after Wake Forest?
After Wake Forest, we have a bye week, and then after that, the Florida State Seminoles come to South Bend.
All right. There won't be any look-ahead factor. I think Notre Dame wins that one against Wake Forest. 3-0.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just checking our. I'm sorry. It was Nick McLeod, not Nate. The corner from the NC State transfer.
Anyway, 3-0 into the bye week.
Yeah.
Florida State comes to town.
Yeah. Right? Yeah, that's the fourth. Yeah, fourth game was against Florida State at South Bend.
That's a really intriguing matchup. I'm really interested to see what Mike Norvell can do with Florida State. I have a feeling it's a lot deeper of an issue, and probably a lot less blame could be put on Taggart necessarily as what Jimbo left there in terms of lack of accountability and just a recruiting mess. It was just not a good situation there, and it took a lot. It was going to take a lot more than people thought to clean up Florida State. I think Mike Norvell could be in for a rude awakening as well. I think the issues went deeper than just Willie Taggart. I'm not sure. I think he was probably not quite the right coach for Florida State. They could have done better than what they did during his time there. They certainly weren't that bad, but there's a lot of issues there. I think Florida State can bump up the win total to maybe 7 or 8 wins, but I don't think that's a team ready to take a big step forward in the first year of Mike Norvell to really be a challenge to Notre Dame like they could have been in years past. I think it could be closer than usual, though, with perhaps some players in the secondary. I'm not sure how experienced they are if those players are starting, but if Notre Dame has a weakened secondary this year from losing some key pieces, those might be areas that in Game 4 might still have some hiccups there every now and then. So I have to say, I think Notre Dame wins it, but I think Florida State gets a few chunks. I think it'd be more like maybe a 45 to 21 kind of game. Notre Dame wins.
All right.
4-0.
So we're 4-0. The next week after that, still in South Bend against the Louisville Cardinals.
Louisville, that is a very interesting one. Louisville,
I agree.
That could be the team that really surprises a lot of people. And Scott Satterfield is doing an excellent job, like he did at Appalachian State, taking it to Louisville, and the offensive improvement that was shown from one year to the next was very good. The defense could be a big problem. I think this could be a high-scoring game. It doesn't take much to really exploit Louisville defensively. There's a lot of work to be done there, but there could be some improvement. That could be a team that possibly is the closest challenge to Clemson this season, at least in what would have been that side of the division. That's seriously a game you need to watch out for. Is this at home?
Yeah, it's at home.
It's at home, but man, you still got to watch out for it. This offense could take you completely by surprise.
Whoa. They were our opener last year, and we had a few issues with them, but we ended up pulling away.
I think it's going to be. I really think that's going to be a very tight game. I really think that's going to be a tight one. If Notre Dame wins, I think it's by a 3-point margin, or maybe a little more. But if that line was a touchdown, I would be taking. If it was Louisville +7 or Notre Dame -7, I would be taking the Cardinals in the point spread. I would. That could be really tight.
It's very possible with his fast-paced offense that they run.
I think Louisville is going to take a couple of years that I felt could really nationally contend. Even when they had Lamar Jackson, They really
Yeah.
couldn't nationally contend. So I'd have to say I'd give the edge to Notre Dame with home field advantage and just being a better program, in my opinion.
So you're giving Notre Dame the victory in that one?
Yep. What was that, 5-0?
Yeah, 5-0.
Hey,
And the
what,
next,
upset alert, though. Seriously, that could be a loss.
yeah, not a game to be taken lightly. The next week is after that is on the road at Pitt.
At Pitt, man, that's an interest. I think he beat Pitt, but Pitt is one of those weird teams, man. They play like they like completely come out and like just put everything in one game, then they'll shit themselves the next game. And they're a weird team, man. I think you beat Pitt. Pitt's not really that great of a team. They don't overwhelm you with athleticism and talent, but they do have a sneaky good defense, and
Yeah,
they can stretch the field a little bit with Kenny Pickett, but I think he has a ceiling as a quarterback. I think Notre Dame could very well win that one by double digits, unless it's one of those weird Notre Dame Pitt games, which could very possibly be
exactly.
like the 1914 one. Had no business being close. And Craig, I see
Yeah.
what you're saying, but it's just the fact that Louisville's offense is very explosive, and I believe that they have a really good head coach in Satterfield. There could be some games that are tighter than you think. You know, teams that are supposed to win by double digits get in tight games or lose all the time.
I hate to admit it, but it's true. So the next game after that, Halloween night, actually, at Georgia Tech.
Easy win. Don't even need to get deep into that. Georgia Tech on a really, really big transition from the option to the spread pro style offense, and there's growing pains there. I thought they improved throughout the year. They got a couple of ACC wins last year, beating Miami on the road and taking down NC State. But I mean, a lot of people took down NC State, but still, they did better than I thought most people would have expected. And
Yeah.
they made some strides, but I don't think the passing game is going to be nearly up to par. He's got to get his players in there because a lot of those players are FCS level players that were recruited to play for Paul Johnson only because of the option. They were literally like a Navy or an Army or an Air. They were just a service academy school, but they weren't a service academy.
And all of a sudden, you have to adjust to a new offense that you're not really that familiar with.
That's not going to happen in the matter of, I think, year 3 or 4. You may still be struggling for bowl eligibility. I can only hope Georgia Tech has some patience to let Jeff Collins do his job because he's got a tough one ahead of him.
Yeah, you have to in that case. So that you mark that as a victory. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we'd be 7-0 at this point. Now, the next week, Saturday, November 7th, Clemson Tigers come to South Bend.
And
I expect them to be undefeated as well.
Yeah, and that's a really tough game for you guys there. I genuinely think that not a lot of people have the same talent as Clemson. I think Notre Dame is one of those teams that's very good nationally, can contend, but I'm not sure they have the same level of recruiting and athletes coming into the town like Clemson does. And Clemson and Notre Dame have played some pretty good football. I remember the 2015 game. Man, it just seemed like Notre Dame outplayed Clemson in every single facet of the game in that game, but still came away with a loss.
Well, we had to come back. We had to come back in that game actually to make it.
Yeah, Notre Dame made a lot of errors, self-inflicted, that really cost them in that ball game. And
the Cotton Bowl, we just straight up got outplayed.
No, that was just a once-in-a-generation defensive line you went up against. And Notre Dame is a very good team, but then there's just teams like Clemson. And in most cases Alabama, that are just flat-out elite. And it's really tough. Most college football teams are in that good to really good category, but then you have great and elite. And
I
I'm
mean,
not sure Notre Dame is quite in that class with Clemson yet, or at this moment.
so how do you see the game going?
I think it's probably a loss. I think Notre Dame makes it a tough half and into the third quarter, but I think just the line, the physical line, and the running game of Clemson, I think it wears down Notre Dame, and I think Trevor Lawrence and that running game, and just the balance of the Clemson offense, completely takes over. That's really hard to stop, and the
So are you
defense.
talking? So score. I'm talking like score wise. Do you like blowout?
Do I think
Double
score?
digits? Yeah.
I think Clemson gets a win by I'm gonna say it ends up being like a 34-17 type of game.
All right. So which that's one that if we lose, nobody's really going to be surprised at because, like you said, Clemson is that good of a team, and they're on
Notre Dame,
such a high
needs to
level.
not pull a Michigan like last year, where you just look completely unprepared and blown off the field by a team that you're honestly equals with or better.
Well, and also another thing too that could play effect in this. Who knows? But being a November 7th date, it gets freaking cold up in South Bend that time of year. So could we use that to our advantage? Who knows? Could that
You
play a
never
difference?
know. You could see the Notre Dame teams, the kind that show up against Michigan in that game where it wasn't very good. You look unprepared. It's just a matter of, can they show up prepared and ready to play? But I think either way, Clemson is a superior team in that one.
All right. So 7-1 at this point. Next week is on the road at Boston College.
Boston College, that's a win.
Few interesting storylines in that one with Phil Dracovic likely being the starting quarterback.
Yeah, I don't see Boston College really being a threat. They've got a first-year head coach, and they're one of those teams that are at a severe disadvantage with the COVID stuff because when you're overhauling the coaching staff like that and you don't have any real time with your players, that's a big problem. I think Boston College is going to really suffer, especially early in the year. I just think that talent-wise, Boston College is kind of like Syracuse. They're not going to bring in those top players. They bring in a lot of good offensive linemen, and in a ways they're very similar with Notre Dame in terms of their physical, big offensive lines. But I think Notre Dame's just superior skill position wise to Boston College.
All right. So we're 8-1 at this point. Next week is another bye week, and then after that, ironically enough, on Black Friday, day after Thanksgiving, we head to North Carolina to take on the Tar Heels.
North Carolina. All right. Craig, I'm going to piss you off with this one. You're going to North Carolina. I'm going to predict the blockbuster loss against North Carolina. I'm going to tell you why. North Carolina, yeah, I see it, Sean. North Carolina went 6-6 a year ago, but they lost several games by single digits. They returned Mac Brown, who just brought in one of North Carolina's best recruiting classes in history. The man could still recruit.
I'm just smiling because I kind of saw that coming from you.
Yeah, it's because I pumped up North Carolina, but Mac Brown just brought in one of the best recruiting classes in North Carolina history. The man still got it. He can coach. May have been terrible in the announce booth, but he's really good as a head coach and a recruiter. And he returned Sam Howell at quarterback, who just threw for 38 touchdowns. He may have been one of the biggest under-the-radar quarterbacks in 2019. And that team nearly beat Clemson last season. They were Clemson's tightest game.
I remember that.
They bring back a lot of experience from that team. This is on the road for Notre Dame late in the season. And Notre Dame does have a tendency to have a game where they shouldn't lose, but they come in unprepared. And I'll tell you what, North Carolina seems like a perfect opportunity to slip up because of how good that team really is. I'm not sure people really know how good North Carolina really is. That's a good football team. They're going to be good. They've got experience. They've got really good youthful players coming in. That's going to be a dangerous, dangerous football program in the coming years. I think they get that big signature win against Notre Dame, 8-2.
All right, yeah. So 8-2, you have us at this point, and now the grand finale. They wrap up the regular season in South Bend against your Syracuse Orange.
I think Notre Dame takes that one. I think Syracuse could improve in several areas. Syracuse made a couple of big changes on the offensive line at the end of last season, where we were able to run the ball much better. I just don't think Tommy DeVito has really got it at quarterback. I don't think he's our long-term answer. There's a good chance he may not even be the starter by the end of the year. We'll see if one of the other quarterbacks we have maybe pushes him for the job. But while I think Notre Dame or Syracuse has made some improvements, and I think they'll come in next year being a better team than they were a year ago, I don't think they're just never going to be up to par talent-wise with Notre Dame. But we saw it when we had one of our best seasons in history, and Notre Dame just absolutely blew us out of the building in Yankee Stadium.
Well, it didn't help that, I mean, obviously this wasn't intentional, but when we take out your starting quarterback to injury.
Yeah, but starting quarterback, he was getting stopped anyway, but regardless, that doesn't even help us for the purposes of this conversation, because the quarterback that most likely will be starting in this matchup is the one you played against in that game. And you could chalk it up as youthfulness, not really being used to the coverages Notre Dame was throwing at him. Those were some advanced coverages and a very well-coached secondary that Tommy DeVito went up against when he played against Notre Dame. But he showed last year, and I know the offensive line was bad and it can affect decision-making, but he proved that he may have the lead arm talent, but he's not he's clearly operated by his head. He doesn't know how to really – he's got a loaded weapon with that arm, but doesn't even know how to use it. And very inaccurate at times, sailing passes down the field. I think that if he learned how to use his arm, we have some skill players that could challenge Notre Dame, perhaps coming off of a loss like that, limping into the matchup maybe, where we could maybe surprise them. But I just don't think that we'll be able to make those plays. I think Notre Dame maybe plays a sloppy game in terms of, because we have some really good DBs. I think they play a sloppy game maybe, but not nearly enough to where we threaten them. I think it ends up being like maybe a 34-13 type of win for Notre Dame, or maybe even 40 points, depending on the defense.
So, all right. So with that said, you have us going 9-2 with an 8-2 record in the ACC. Now, after that is the ACC championship. Do you, with an 8-2 record, see us being that team to go up against Clemson?
If you lose to North Carolina, I don't think so.
Okay.
I think North Carolina could very well have the same record, if not better. Especially, I don't remember their schedule or not. I'd have to take a look at it, but there's a good chance with how good that team could be that that they may have a similar record. I think you need to exchange losses with that game and maybe another game within your schedule to really have a chance in that one, get to the ACC title. Notre Dame has the talent to get there. They very well could. They're very capable of getting through this ACC, but
we can't get
picked
off.
Have to show up prepared. You can't have a Michigan game from last year. You can't have some of these close games that Notre Dame had last year where they didn't play well. They have to show up prepared every single week against teams like North Carolina, Clemson, and even your Florida States who still have talent.
What do you think about this comment that Craig just left? He says, North Carolina lost 4 defensive backs to opt out, so who is going to stop us calling it when we run the ball down their throat and out their ass? ND wins that one 38-21, and Howell threw 38 touchdowns against a horrible ACC.
Your heart's talking, Craig. I respect that, though.
Well, see,
And you
my
make a
bottom
fair
line is
point when you're talking about DBs. You make a fair point, but I'm North Carolina. Really, where they scare me is on offense. They've got a lot of very lethal playmakers. Don't overlook North Carolina just because they play in the ACC.
you
And that
beat
was a
me.
complete mess that Mac Brown had to inherit from Larry Fedora.
You beat me to the punch because what I was going to say is we can't be overlooking anybody on the schedule because that's the worst thing we could do because some team could be like, oh, well, yeah, you're going to overlook us and look forward to Clemson, huh? Well, we'll show you. So that's the biggest mistake you could ever do is overlook any opponent, especially a trap team like North Carolina.
And I would like to fact check the story on the 4 DBs because there may have been 4 DBs to opt out, but were they all starters? I mean, yeah, it could affect their depth, but if they weren't all starters, then that could maybe have an effect on what you're trying to say. But you could be right. They could just come in and stomp them. You're right. That could happen. But it's very possible too that North Carolina could just be a really good team, a really good offense that improves. I mean, they lost a lot of games last year by single digits, including to Clemson. Is that a terrible team? I don't think so.
It's a good point. He says 3 of them were starters.
3 were starters. Oh, and that could play a factor. I'm not gonna say it doesn't. That could definitely be a factor as to why maybe North Carolina doesn't play as well as everyone would hope. But at least, I mean, the North Carolina fans obviously would hope. You're not going to hope they play well. You're going to hope they suck so you can beat them. But just saying, man, North Carolina, real threat. And if you play against them in the coming years where things get normalized, watch out. That team will threaten Notre Dame if they ever play up against each other. Do not overlook North Carolina. That is a program on the rise.
All right, moving on. Did you want me to go ahead and do your predict your guys' schedule, or you want to wait for next time?
Go ahead, man. I'd love to hear it.
All right, I don't do as great of breakdowns as you do because I don't know a lot of these teams too well, but I have a pretty good idea.
I'm an ACC junkie, man. I'm not expecting you to have that quite of a. Yeah.
Well, just to see when I would do my breakdowns. Obviously, this season is going to be different because I'm doing all of it with Ben on our other show. But I would research each team week by week. A lot of them not knowing much about. So I'd have to get my shit down. And obviously, you just said it yourself. You're an ACC junkie. I'm not.
But I'm not setting the bar for you. You don't have to be as awesome as me, Sean.
All right. Well, I'll do the best that I can. So,
all right.
So you guys kick off your season on the 12th, so you don't play that first week, but you start your season off at North Carolina. Based on what we know about this team and how good a offense they have, and like you said, the 1-point losses. And with the situation that your team is in, with a questionable offensive line coming in, not sure if they improved or not. Defense maybe being a little shaky. I project that as a loss. And I don't know if I should give scores or not because I
do whatever you feel like you need to do.
I think it'll be a double-digit loss for you guys, unfortunately, because like you said, North Carolina has the firepower to get it done on offense. So You guys start 0-1. Next week, you guys are at Pittsburgh. Now, Pittsburgh, as we've discussed, they're a team that's very tricky. They're kind of a Jekyll and Hyde team. You're never sure which one's going to show up because one week they get blown out, the next week they come out and surprise the shit out of you. But honestly, I think you guys and Pittsburgh are in the same kind of category. So I could actually see you guys winning this one. But it just depends what kind of Pittsburgh defense shows up. Because if it's the lousy one, then I can see you guys winning by like 10.
Yeah,
So,
and that's a piece of history for you. Syracuse has not won at Heinz Field since 2001.
well, this is the year that they break that.
Yes, I love this prediction. I would love to go down there and beat them.
They're
I'm not going to
due.
argue that.
They're due. When a team is on a streak like that, they're due. So I'm just going with a gut instinct on that. You guys take care of the Pitt Panthers by 7 to 10 points. It's going to be close, but I think you get the win. So then after that, the third game, you guys have your first home game at the Carrier Dome to take on Georgia Tech. Now, we discussed this earlier. Georgia Tech, they're in a transition period from the option offense to what do they run, like a RPO? Is that what they're running now?
Pro style spread offense.
Pro style spread. Now, what did you say your guys' defense is like? Middle of the road, horrible, above average?
The defense is very good at times at forcing turnovers, and it depends on which defense shows up. There were times where our defense played well last year, but then there were games like Boston College where we gave up 491 yards rushing.
All right, because I have a pretty good idea about your guys' offense. I mean, I've seen them put up points galore, so
it wasn't great last year. But it could improve. It got better towards the end of the year.
So, based on Georgia Tech's transition period, I think you guys win a close one, especially with it being in the Dome. So,
yeah.
Again, I think another one-score game, but a victory nonetheless. So you're at 2-1. Next week, you guys are off. The week after that, you're back at the Carrier Dome to take on the Duke Blue Devils. This is one that both you and the Blue Devils. You guys are struggling a little bit. Duke is struggling. I could see you guys winning this one by like 14. Because, I mean, Duke is just – they've had their moments, but, hell, they beat us when they had Daniel Jones. But then again, that was us in a 4-8 campaign.
Daniel Jones is not there anymore.
Exactly. He's not there anymore.
Reminded of that at times last year.
I can see you guys beating the Blue Devils by 14.
Quentin Harris was okay, but he wasn't Daniel Jones as it showed.
Yeah, he wasn't consistent because we played Duke last year too. So I got a chance to see some of them. So right now that puts you guys at 3-1 to start the year.
I would take that with a road victory over Pitt. Road victory in the ACC is something to celebrate.
All right, now this next one, you guys are once again back at the Carrier Dome for the third straight week against the Liberty Flames. I think you guys handle Liberty because even though they're an FBS team, they haven't been one for that long. So they're still in the transitional period between the levels. So I think this game you guys could win by like 3 scores.
A couple of interesting notes on that game, though. They do have Hugh Freeze, and they also have an Auburn transfer quarterback, a dual threat quarterback in Malik Willis. We'll see how he performs. Not even sure if he'd outperform the previous guy, who was very good and broke some Liberty records. But that was a game that was very ugly last year for us, 24-0. But talent discrepancy is still there.
Okay. Well, like I said, I didn't really know anything about Liberty. I didn't know that. But maybe, so based on that, it could be a little bit closer, but I still see you guys winning it.
Yeah.
Because you got to have more than just a quarterback to win a game. So.
Yes. They lost their wide receiver, Golden, too, to the draft, and that hurts. I wanted Golden for the Bills.
I know you would have loved that.
Any receiver pick to me was good. I wouldn't have complained.
So, all right. So I have you guys at 4-1 to start the year. Now the next week, you guys are on the road at Clemson. I'm sorry to say this, but it goes without question. Clemson.
Now, moving on.
The talent gap speaks for itself, man. I'm sorry, but that's
Moving on.
yeah. So four.
We had
One,
a
two,
couple
three, four.
years.
So 4-2. The next week after that, you guys go back to the Carrier Dome to take on Wake Forest on Halloween. I'm not sure if it's afternoon or night, whatever, but it's on Halloween. Wake Forest, I think, is just they've always been a stingy team from what I can remember when we played them, and they were kind of a middle of the road team last year. But I'm sorry, dude, I can see the Demon Deacons winning this game. It's just again, they're kind of a Jekyll and Hyde team too, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, they've got some athletes.
So I'm sorry, I'm picking Wake Forest, dude. So was that 4-3? Yeah, 4-3.
Carolinas have done us no favors.
All right, the next week you're back at the Carrier Dome again to take on Boston College. Boston College, not a bad team. They could surprise some people, but I see you guys winning this game by a couple of scores. Especially with Phil Dracovic. I know he's good, but he's getting used to a new coach, new teammates. So I can see you guys beating Boston College, 5-3. Next week you guys are off on a well-deserved bye week. Next week you head to Cardinal Stadium to take on the Louisville Cardinals. High-powered offense. I don't know if your defense can match that. So that matchup alone, I got to give it to the Cardinals. And I think they win that game probably by 20 points. So let's see, 5-4. Yeah, 5-4. Next week after that, you guys are back at the Carrier Dome for your senior day against the NC State Wolfpack. Oh boy. Now this Wolfpack team. They played us tough in the time that we've been playing them. This one's kind of tough for me.
Hold on a minute. What? Yeah, not for much longer.
Oh, I see.
All right.
They've been pretty consistent.
I can't hear you now. What's going on? I just got a phone call. It's not
You can't hear me
anymore.
Can you hear me now?
Darn it. How about you know what? How about I get off the stream and then I'll just tune in and listen to what you had to say, all right?
Okay.
All right, have a good night, Sean.
Yeah, you too. And then I'll call it
Finish
quits
it
after
up and
that.
I'll watch and give my comment.
All right.
All right. Good night.
Yeah, good night, man. Damn, the stream went a lot longer than I thought. Yeah, sorry guys. I haven't been trying to ignore your comments, but had to keep focused on the topic at hand. But yeah, to answer your question, Craig, if Book were to go down, Pine or Clark, I would have to say Brendan Clark just because he actually has seen time on the field, and I don't think Drew Pine has. Lily, me and Eric are finishing up predicting each other's records for this upcoming season. And Eric has the Irish going at 9-2, 8-2 in ACC play. And right now I have his team, the Syracuse Orange, at 5-4. So yeah, Eric, if you're on, I'll just go ahead and continue. So NC State had a down year last year. They were 4-8. Do they have enough to improve? I don't know. So based on that alone, I think Syracuse is more established. So I can see you guys getting a close win. So that puts you guys at 6-4. So then the next week, you guys come to play us at South Bend. And you know me, I'm never going to pick against my Irish, so we take that one, obviously. So you guys finished the year at 6-5. I think you guys finished the year at 6-5. And let's see, that would make what would that make the division or the conference record? 2, 1, 2, 2, 3, 2, 4, 3 and 4. All right, so 6-5. I predict you guys be 6-5 overall and 5-5 in the conference. So, it's just Syracuse has some talent. Just it's just they have some work. Obviously, they have some work to do. You obviously know that, man. So yeah, I think Syracuse goes 6-5 overall, 5-5 in ACC play. Yeah, it's very well possible that you guys could pick one off. I mean, I know, like, for the one that sticks out that I talked about was that the Wake Forest game that I projected a loss on. That's a game that you guys could pick off for sure. Absolutely. So, and somebody just texted me. It was Ben with a show idea. So, yeah, guys, I think this is what I'm going to call it. I did not expect to go for 2 hours and almost 45 minutes. So, yeah, it's just a shame that JJ couldn't join us, but that's what another show is for. Hope you guys like the topics that Eric and I discussed. I know it got interesting there with the all the homo stuff, but yeah, I stick with my beliefs. Eric sticks by his. I'm not sorry for what I believe, and I don't expect Eric to be sorry either. So yeah, that's actually what I think. We actually demonstrated what it means to be human beings. Have a civil conversation. You disagree, but we can still come out being friends. It's unfortunate that with a lot of the times and stuff like that, you don't get that, whether it be political issues, social issues, or even sports. Craig, bowl games, I don't know, man. That's a whole other topic for another day. And I'm actually looking to get off here, which actually I think I'm probably going to go ahead and do that now. So thank you everyone for joining. Like I said, with me and Eric and JJ, I will start to plan these streams ahead of time, so that way you guys can see it on your subscriber list for upcoming events and whatnot. And yeah, just be on the lookout for the next one. But as usual, tonight was a lot of fun. So on that note, everyone, God bless, go Irish, and good night.